Welcome to Sage Leaf Group Tutorials. This is Kevin Taylor here. This channel is where we explore and teach basic techniques and skills in Revit. Hello, this evening I wanted to go over the basic sheet, sheet A101. For this instance, we have quite a bit on this sheet just because it's such a small house. This is also going to go over our standards and kind of the things we'd like to see on a sheet. So first of all, it'll be sheet A101 is the standard that we have for our company. That'll be floor plan, and for this instance we've got 4 on here. I'm going to start by going over the main floor plan and also these things over here off to the right. So first of all, we've got general notes. So the general notes, they cover the basics of what's going on, how you're going to use the dimension strings, what clear dimension means, etc. Anything that applies to the entire sheet, and that's where we can put that there. Then right here you see the wall legend. This is how we're going to indicate the different wall types without necessarily having a whole entire wall type sheet like a lot of larger buildings will have. So here you notice there's 4 different patterns, well 5, but 4 for the walls and then a dashed line for the footings. So let's come on over to the floor plan. There's a few different ways of doing this. So if all the walls are going to be of one type, what you can do is select the wall here. So we've got the basic 8-inch wall, and so it's got a 5.5-inch stud wall. And since it's gray, how I got it that way was I selected edit type, and then went into the structure of the wall, and then you also notice here for the structure I've got lumber 2x6 at 24 inches on center, and it's 5.5 inches. So when you click on the little 3 dots to the right there, you notice I have a few different material types here. The reason I did this is so that each material or each different type of framing can have a unique cut pattern to it. So we're selecting this material, a 2x6 at 24 inches on center. If you notice over here, you've got the cut pattern is a solid fill, and so it's going to be solid gray, and you can change that just by clicking. And you've got a whole list of different options here. For this instance, I just did solid fill, selected OK, and then you can select the color and pick it wherever you want. I just picked a gray and then picked a lighter shade and selected OK. And then when you do that, then you select OK, and everything that has that material in it, that specific material that I created, so the 2x6 at 24 inches on center, will then be gray like this. You notice with this wall here, I did something a little bit different. So I covered it with a masking region. So let me hide that real quick. But before I did that, I selected the wall and I did the same thing. Went into edit type, structure, 2x4 at 16 inches on center. Let's go see what that looks like. Cut pattern here, diagonal. So you can change it just like we did with the other ones. And so for this, the reason I did it a little bit differently was because not all of these walls were load bearing. So if we come back over to our wall schedule, so 3.5-inch stud wall, 16 inches on center, uninsulated. But then this other one here is a bearing stud wall. So that's why I did this one a little bit different than I did the exterior walls. So we've got all those walls have the diagonal cross line, but then to create a masking region, you can go into annotate and then region, and make sure we're going to do a filled region. I'm sorry, not a masking region. You can select 2 rectangles, go where corners, corner to corner, and I'm not going to overlap the door there. There we go. So I selected those, and then you can change what it's going to look like over here. I've got one preset already as gray shade 25 or 25%, and then it's also transparent. Select OK, and there you go, you have it there. And so for this plan, that's all that we have for the wall types. A few other things to be looking for that need to be done is the keynote systems. So if you notice, I've got keynotes all over the place indicating different things. The way these work is they're actually a symbol. So you go to annotate, and then under symbol, go to symbol. And then I've got different families that are created. And if you're using my template, you'll also have these same families included in there. I like to try to keep these associated with the view that we're in. So I don't want to use a wall section on a floor plan. I'll show you why here in a second. So we've got a floor plan, so a stove. Okay, cool. So right there, click, boom. You got a keynote to indicate this is the stove. But once you do that, or if you need to change it, you can click Edit Type. And then if you don't have any made, or you need more, you can click Duplicate and rename it. Or for this instance, we've got to-stove. Click OK. It's already in there. You can change the keynote number here. Now be aware that this is the number that actually shows up as the keynote number. And then this description here is whatever you put in, but that's what comes up on the schedule. So it's stove, ventas per manufacturer's specifications is what that says. And then you can create new ones of these or copy and paste. And if you need a leader line right up here, you've got a leader that you can add to it. It always makes it super long, but then you can point it wherever you want it to. There you go, you've got a leader. So when you use the symbol keynotes, it'll automatically populate this schedule here that I've also already put on the sheet. So in this schedule, when we open that up, when we come and look at it, so we look at the properties, it's a generic annotation, and I've got it set up already to where it'll pull any floor plan keynote and automatically populate onto here. So as long as you use the right keynote that's associated with the sheet name, then it should show up here. If not, you can comment or ask some more questions. With the room names, if you need to change those to a different type, you can just select the tag. If you want them all to change, you can use SA for select all, then that just select all the room tags, and then you can change the type. So right now, I've got room tag and number, but if you just want room name or room tag, there you go, you can just quickly change them all. We want to make sure that we have all the appropriate sections and all the elevations visible on this sheet. If you can't get those to work, or if they're moving around and giving you troubles there, you can also create their referenced views or sections. And so you can do that by a section or a view. It's the same with either way. And you create a new one. If you select this little box here, reference other views, and then you can select whichever view you want to reference. So if we want elevation, building elevation, okay, so let's say we wanted east elevation. So the east wall over here, then we could then select that. Oh, I put it on the wrong side. Or I put one of these on the wrong ones. But then that will automatically show up there, like that. So now that's the correct elevation. And this one's actually wrong there. So this one's being referenced right now, but it's referencing this side here. So I'm actually going to delete that one because I don't need that one since it's just a referenced view. And now I have this one. So you can move it wherever you want, but it doesn't alter the view at all because it's referenced up here. With window tags, you can use the shortcut TG to select to tag anything. With the windows, I don't like the leaders, so I make sure I deselect the leader, and then when you click the window, it automatically shows up. These ones are overlapping because I already tagged them, but you get the idea. So how it's showing up there, and then you can click. In order to change that, if you need, select the window, and I like to make sure I select all. So SA to select all, go to Edit Type, and then scroll clear down, and then right here, type mark C. So if you wanted to change it to something else, you could then change it to D or whatever, but I'm going to keep those at C. Select OK, and then all those windows that were selected will change, and any of those that are tagged, they'll automatically update because these are smart tags. Another important thing that will need to be on the floor plans is where we have beams. So if we come to the 3D view, sorry, half of this is hidden, but underneath these roofs we've got a beam there and a beam here as well, and then along here to distribute that load down these columns. So we've got beams there, but those need to be indicated in the floor plan. So as you see here, we've got a dashed line. We can use 4 dashed is one of the ones that are in our templates. And then I always like to annotate it just so it's perfectly clear this is a beam. The doors will also need to be tagged. We have a tag loaded in the template as well that automatically pulls the width and the height. And so same thing here as the windows, TG to tag. And then you can click here. One thing I really like is to make sure that when the door is vertical like this, we make sure the tag is vertical along with it. So when you have this horizontal tag there, you can select it and then come right up here to the drop box and change it to vertical. A little quick shortcut is if you want, instead you can change this to vertical, tag all the doors that are vertical, go through and tag them all, and then you can switch to horizontal and tag all the doors that are horizontal. And that way you don't have to go and change them individually. That could save you a little bit of time. And then also, just to make it easier for builders to know what casework and cabinets we're using a standard for the casework, and I've got all of those labeled here. That way it's easy to tell exactly how many cabinets they have, and it's easier to pull an estimate and to get those exactly. And very similar to the floor plan, we also have the loft here, and everything that applies to the first floor applies to the loft. Here you also notice this dimension here indicating the opening. This is crucial for when they come in and frame the loft floor. They need to know exactly how big these openings are and where they're located. That way when a floor manufacturer is coming through and explaining and indicating where the floor joists need to be, that way they know where this opening is exactly. But you also see the sections and then the elevations as well, keynotes and dimensions. So everything still applies here. That's going to conclude the floor plan section. In the next tutorial, I'll go over the foundation plan and the roof plan in a little bit more detail. If there is a tool or skill in Revit that you would like to see demonstrated, please leave a comment below.